Hello, welcome back to the second part of my video on original art. Um, it is a mystery to me, even today, is why original arts were so under-collected and underappreciated and under sought after for such a long time. You know, the history of original arts are very interesting in that the majority of the arts in the golden age era were destroyed, thrown away, tossed in the trash. You gotta understand this medium for so long were, I'm trying to find the right word, almost like the bastard child of literary. Okay, so you know when people had to use not their real name to write or draw comic books because they almost embarrassed to be connected to the hobby. It is it's amazing to me to go back to peer back into history and see how the hobby used to be and how it transformed over time. But when it comes down to original arts, you know, for a long time it was something that kept by the company, and the company can do whatever it want with its product. It could throw it in the trash, or I guess sell it. But it's not without great effort from people like Neil Adams in the 70s that spoke out for creative rights and ownership, that the trend changes over slowly over the years to a point where artists, writers, inker get to keep their work and do whatever they wish with what they created. It was, like I said, Neil Adams played a big part in that movement, so a big kudos to the great Neil Adams to do so. And from my understanding of original arts, often many of the pieces are divided up between the penciler and the inker. I know people like I've heard. Okay, this is just from what I heard and read over the years. But for example, if John Byrne and Terry Austin would split some of the pages of the books that they did, who knows who decide what page of X-Men 137 John keep and Terry kept, right? So like I said, I don't know, but it splits just like you know any other artist. Whenever you team up with other people, I think that's common sense and fair to split up the artwork between the penciler and the inkers. I think the colorists and the letterers likely don't get much of anything. Uh, as far as original arts, there are one artist out there that I can't wait to see a bulk of his work make it into the marketplace. Walter Simonson. Walter Simonson is one of those artists that throughout his career has kept most of his work to himself and have not sold many of it. So he has, you know, hundreds, if not thousands, of pages stacked up somewhere in a nice stash. And you know, and Walter Simonson, he doesn't need the money yet, and he's still fairly young. So who knows? One of these days when the time come, we will see a lot of his wonderful Thor page hit the market. And I can tell you, it's gonna go for a pretty big chunk of money because you know it's so hard to find any Walter Simonson original arts out there in the open market. But as far as you know, the original art market, what make it interesting to me is the inefficiency of the market. There I go again with the inefficiency economic talks. Unlike the comic book market, okay, you are, in the comic book market, for example, if you look at, let's say, a popular, highly collectible book like Hulk 181, on any given day, any given weeks, there are a few copies in a variety of great range being auctioned off somewhere on eBay, other auction site. So there's a pretty it's a good understanding of the marketplace of what a value of something is. And that go for most comic books. You can do a quick research and figure out what something was sold recently that may be in the same grade as your book. But when it comes down to the comic original arts, that market is so inefficient in that a lot of the deals are not done and recorded, so that a lot of the deals are done privately, with the big dealers and collectors. So it is not easy to do any kind of research in order to find out what's the fair value of anything is. Even in addition to being so few transactions that take place in a public place, often the same page are not sold right away. Once in a while you see a page that was bought and flipped fairly quickly, but sometimes something was bought and then sit in somebody's collection for 5, 10, 15 years. And so it's hard enough to find any record of anything, let alone something that exists before the age of internet as far as transactions. So and it's not like a credible price guide, like a comic book price guide that you can gauge. Because the problem with original art is there's a lot of nuance into playing into the value of any given page. For sure, like comic books, the importance of the book also play into the value of the original parts of that book. So that's common sense. But when you go into the original art of a book, there are a huge range of criteria that us collectors, buyers need to understand in order to make an educated valuation of the page. Okay, so I'm just gonna ramble on some of the things that I use to help me determine the value of a page. First, you have to determine if the comic books, the arts of that comic books belong to a comic books that means something. So if it is just an average book in a run, likely it will go cheaper than the page of a key book in that run. Okay, so that's given. And then it's always a rule of thumb is the most prized and valuable page is the cover, and then the splash page, and then action page. Okay, so in the rank of importance and valuation, you have cover, splash, and action page, as well as team appearance page. What I'm meant by that is, if you're talking about Avengers, it's highly likely that a page of the Avenger book with multiple team members in it will be worth a lot more than a page that have no or very few team members in it. Okay, so that play a key important part. And then for non-team book, okay, if you look at say the Silver Surfer, I love the Silver Surfer, and one of these days I will do a big series on the Silver Surfer. But I love the Silver Surfer, and for years I wanted to collect original arts of the Silver Surfer. Forget it. The price of those pages are insane. Okay, but as crazy as the prices are, first of all, they are affordable pages, but many of the affordable page of the Silver Surfer original art has no Silver Surfer in it. So, if you're looking at original arts, if you're talking on any given title, on any given book, if the main character is not in that page, it also will go on the bottom rung. So on the list of importance, you have cover, splash, action page, key character appearances, and then on the bottom rung is just the boring page with people just talking, no action, and possibly no appearance of the main character or the villain or anything. Okay, so so on a few occasions, that level of importance will shift. Where for example, if you look at say Iron Man 55, the first appearance of Thanos, I can guarantee you that one page that showed the first appearance of Thanos will be worth a lot more than the splash. Maybe not more than the cover, most likely not more than the cover, but for sure it will be worth a lot more than the splash page of that book. So for me, whenever I try to buy an original piece of art of anything, the best I can do is trying to compare and contrast with anything available publicly. So if I was looking for John Buscema, if I was going after a John Buscema Avenger page, well, the first thing I would do is trying to find as many examples of John Buscema Avenger page there are out there, as far as what's sold and what's available to buy, and look at all the prices, okay, in order to see what's the range of value is. And so that's what you have to do. You have to do that kind of homework, because even say like the great Jack Kirby, the level of importance of his work on certain series will dictate the value of the original arts. Because you're looking at the Fantastic Four, for sure, the Silver Age Fantastic Four, probably the gem of the gem of original arts for Jack Kirby. But in the same time frame, if you look at other titles, the Western, even pre Marvel original arts, if they exist, likely will not go as much as what is going for in the Fantastic Four series. And then of course his later work not that expensive. They're still expensive, but not as crazy. If you're looking at the stuff that he's done in the 70s, and certainly in the 80s, like the Captain Victory stuff, they are affordable. So on any given artist, you need to pay attention to what is considered his marquee titles. Just like John Buscema, no doubt his Avenger stuff are most likely most expensive. Just like John Romita, you're talking about Spider-Man. But when you look at John Buscema, there are a lot of affordable, beautiful page of Conan's. So if you're a fan of John Buscema, and you enjoy Conan, that might be a good place to look to buy, because they are affordable compared to, they might be in the hundreds of dollars. She's still not cheap, But when you go to Avengers, you're talking a few thousands. So anyhow, I hope this video you know shed some light into the original art market. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Okay, until next time, bye.